As a 20-year-old, I had a secret love for dressing in women's clothing since I was young. It started with trying on my sister's clothes and has since evolved into purchasing feminine items online and dressing up in my room during the night. One day, I stumbled upon an adorable black Barbie doll set that I knew I had to have. The delicate lace and soft fabric were captivating, and I eagerly awaited its arrival. When the package arrived, I couldn't wait to try on my new purchase. The black and white lace, along with the delicate embroidery, made me feel beautiful and feminine. Since my family was going out for the afternoon, I decided to make it extra special by getting all dolled up and doing something more adventurous inside the house. Before beginning, I made sure to lock all the doors, creating a cozy and intimate space for myself. After washing my face and putting on some moisturizer, I applied my foundation, eyeliner, and black lip gloss. I was thrilled with my reflection and felt confident and beautiful. I took many photos and videos of myself and felt a mix of fear and excitement as I ventured out of my room for the first time fully dressed. I even snuck into my sister's room to grab some of her perfume, which I found to be pleasant. The thrill of being in her space and trying on her things was exhilarating. I decided to take some photos and videos in her room before heading to the living room. Though it was riskier to be in the living room, I couldn't resist the thrill of getting caught. I took a few quick photos and rushed back to my room, feeling relieved to be back in the safety of my space. I decided to try my hand at making a few videos for social media and set up my phone on a tripod. However, I quickly realized that the lighting in the room was too dark, so I peeked outside to ensure no one could see me and opened the curtains to let in more light. In the end, I felt exhilarated and thrilled by my secret adventure. The delicate Barbie doll set and feminine clothing made me feel confident and beautiful, and I couldn't wait for my next secret adventure. Though there was always a risk of being caught, the thrill was worth it. With the improved lighting, I started filming my videos. I tried out different poses and angles, experimenting with different facial expressions and movements. It was challenging at first, but I gradually became more comfortable in front of the camera. I took breaks in between recordings to check how the footage looked and make adjustments as needed. As I continued to film, I started to feel a sense of liberation, as if I was shedding off a layer of inhibition and expressing a side of myself that I had kept hidden for so long. After I finished filming, I spent some time editing the videos and adding some effects and music. When I was satisfied with the final result, I uploaded them to my social media accounts. I was nervous about how people would react, but at the same time, I felt a sense of pride in sharing this part of myself with the world. To my surprise, the response was overwhelmingly positive. People left comments expressing their admiration for my courage and creativity, and some even shared their own experiences of struggling with gender identity or body image. It was heartwarming to see how my videos had touched others and inspired them to be more authentic and true to themselves. From that day on, I made it a point to embrace my femininity and express it openly, both in private and in public. I started incorporating more feminine clothing and accessories into my wardrobe, experimenting with makeup and hairstyles, and even attended some events and gatherings. It was a journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance, and although it wasn't always easy, it was worth it in the end. Looking back on that day when I received the black Barbie doll set, I realized that it was a turning point in my life, a moment when I decided to break free from the constraints of gender norms and embrace my true self. It was a small act of rebellion, but it had a profound impact on my life, allowing me to discover a part of myself that I had never known existed, and for that I am forever grateful. As I continued to film myself, I felt more and more comfortable in front of the camera. It was exciting to see how different angles and poses looked on camera, and I felt that I was truly expressing myself in a way that I had never been able to before. But as the night wore on, my excitement began to wane, and I started to feel guilty and ashamed for what I was doing. I worried about what my family and friends would think if they found out about my secret cross-dressing hobby. Despite my reservations, I couldn't bring myself to stop. It was like a part of me was addicted to the thrill of dressing up and being someone else, even if it was just for a few hours at a time. Over the next few weeks, I continued to indulge in my cross-dressing habit, but I also started to do some research online about what it meant to be transgender. I read stories from people who had struggled with gender dysphoria and had eventually transitioned to living as their true selves. The more I learned, the more I started to question my own gender identity. Was my love of women's clothing just a harmless hobby, or was it a sign that I was meant to be a woman? As I grappled with these questions, I knew that I needed to talk to someone about what I was going through. But I was too scared to tell anyone in my life for fear of being judged or rejected. Eventually, I decided to seek out a therapist who specialized in gender identity issues. It was terrifying to take that first step, but I knew that I needed help if I was ever going to figure out who I truly was. In my first session with my therapist, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. It was such a relief to be able to talk openly and honestly about my feelings, without fear of judgment or ridicule. Over time, I began to explore my gender identity in more depth, and eventually came to the realization that I was transgender. It was a scary and overwhelming realization, but it was also incredibly freeing to finally understand who I was meant to be. Today, I'm living my life as a woman, and while it's not always easy, it's also incredibly rewarding to finally be living as my true self. I'm so grateful for the support of my therapist, my friends and family, and the broader transgender community, who have all helped me to embrace who I truly am.